The story begins not in gold-lined halls, but in the dust of the Holy Land. In 1119, 9 knights, led by Jacques de Molay, stood before the king of Jerusalem. They were poor, so impoverished they shared a single horse between 2 men. They vowed to protect pilgrims on the dangerous roads to the holy sites. They were the poor fellow soldiers of Christ. But beneath the Al-Aqsa Mosque, where they were headquartered, something changed. Chroniclers of the time whispered that the knights weren't just guarding roads, they were digging, excavating deep into the foundations of the Temple of Solomon. What they found remains a subject of legend. Was it the Ark of the Covenant, or was it something more dangerous, ancient knowledge of banking, architecture, and mathematics? By the time the Council of Troy officially recognized the order in 1129, the Templars had become the darlings of the Catholic Church. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, the most influential monk in Europe, wrote their rule. They were granted a status that no king could claim. They were answerable only to the Pope. They paid no taxes. They could cross any border. As the Crusades raged, the Templars transformed. They became the first multinational corporation. A pilgrim in London could deposit his gold at a Templar commandery, receive a coded letter of credit, and withdraw the equivalent in silver in Jerusalem. This was the birth of modern banking. They built a network of 9,000 estates across Europe. Their power on the battlefield was equally legendary. Clad in their iconic white mantles with the blood-red cross, they were the special forces of the Middle Ages. They were forbidden from retreating unless the odds were greater than 3 to 1. At the Battle of Montgisard, 500 Templars helped a small Christian force defeat Saladin's army of 30,000. However, as the 13th century drew to a close, the tide turned in the Holy Land. The fall of Acre in 1291 marked the end of the Crusader presence. The Templars lost their primary reason for being, the defense of the Holy Land. They retreated to Cyprus and Europe, but they were now too rich and too powerful for the comfort of kings. In France, King Philip IV, known as the Fair, was deeply in debt to the Templars. He had borrowed massive sums to fund his wars with England. He couldn't pay them back, so he decided to destroy them. On Friday, October 13th, 1307, the origin of the Friday the 13th superstition, Philip's men struck. In a coordinated dawn raid across France, thousands of Templars were arrested. They were accused of heresy, spitting on the cross, and worshipping a mysterious idol named Baphomet. Under horrific torture, many knights confessed to things they likely never did. The Inquisition's methods were brutal. But when the king's men went to the Paris temple to seize the treasure, they found the vaults empty. The gold was gone. That same night, a fleet of Templar ships was seen leaving the port of La Rochelle. They carried the archives and the wealth of the order. They were never seen again. Some say they went to Scotland, others to Portugal, and some even believe they crossed the Atlantic a century before Columbus. In 1314, the last Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was brought to a small island in the Seine River in Paris to be burned at the stake. As the flames rose, he didn't scream in pain. He issued a curse. He summoned King Philip and Pope Clement V to meet him before God's judgment within a year. Both the king and the pope were dead within months.